different reasons. I've always said by the time I was 40, I was going to own my own restaurant. It's funny to hear people that used to manage, or I used to manage back in the day, and they're like, man, you were 25 years old and you used to tell me one day I'm going to own my own restaurant. So I had come from a family of entrepreneurs, and I would sit around the table when I worked for corporate restaurants, and I would try to always justify why I was working for someone. Oh, they have great 401k programs, or they flew me and my wife to the Dominican Republic, and they would always stare at me across the table and be like, so that doesn't make sense. So I come from entrepreneurship. I knew I was going to eventually get there. It just took capital, I guess. So I saved all my money, put my home in it. And in 2011, I went into catering business for myself. And the catering took about 4 or 5 years till I had enough saved up to go into business for myself and open Eddie's. It was kind of interesting because I was with corporate restaurants forever, 27 years, and all different levels: director of operations, general manager, kitchen manager. I was a really good kitchen manager. It's my favorite position I ever did. But I found out whatever level I went to in restaurants, I always resorted back to the general manager role. And so opening a restaurant as the owner operator was really easy for me because I had done it for other people for so long. So it's always been my dream to open it, open Eddie's, and then other things sprung from there. Hott Wings came from there, the lounge came from there. But it was just always been my passion. They say if you don't really have a job, you have a passion. I love what I do, and I prefer to work. It's funny when Shannon goes out of town, most people get excited to have the house for themselves and stuff. I get excited because I can go to work, and I can work 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and no one says anything. Don't go into conversations with a predetermined outcome. It's helped me a lot. I think a lot of people, when they're talking about performance or growth or development, they have it in their mind what that conversation is going to look like. And I like to go into things I call palms up, know the predetermined outcome, and I like to listen a lot. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. I think a lot of people, I talk a lot, but that doesn't mean I don't listen. And then the best advice, it'll probably be on my tombstone, that leaders lead people to places that they can't get on their own. And I read a chapter a day, probably 13 books a year on leadership, and I like to talk about it. I like to actions speak louder than words, so I think a lot of people talk about leadership and they don't have the traits and the qualities. But whenever there's an issue with something in the restaurant or a person or an individual, I always resort back to that. And I'm like, they can't get there. Help them get there. And that's what leaders do, is lead them and help them get there. So somebody's quick to say, she can't work here anymore. He can't go. They got to go away. That vendor's this or that. And I was just like, no. Have a conversation. Listen. Don't have a predetermined outcome. And then help them get to where they can't get it. I moved here with a national brand restaurant, so I had Missouri, Kansas, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. I could have moved anywhere. There's the restaurants that I had were like the Wichitas and the Springfields and Fayetteville. There was never really an airport, so I had to drive to all these restaurants. So I had it in my mind I was moving to Norman or Edmond. So I got in my car, wife was still up in Indiana, and I just drove both of them. So I just like the vibe of Edmond. I didn't really look at crime rates or any of that kind of stuff. I just liked the flow of it. I love Oklahoma because it really supports entrepreneurship. And so if you look back to where I've lived in Dallas, Fort Worth, South Bend, Indiana, upstate New York, I don't necessarily think that these concepts would pop. I think Oklahoma City, it's weird. They love local restaurants. And the newer generation as well, if you were to tell Brittany, who's 25 years old, hey, tonight we're going to go to TGI Fridays, she, like, why? Can we go to Red Rock? Can we go, to Three Tequilas? And so people, they have 3 places that they go eat all the time, and my 3 aren't the same as your 3. I'll try a 4th once in a while, but I always go back to the 3 favorite restaurants that I like to eat at. And hopefully one of our concepts is in that rotation for people. So I just like the family feel. I like our police are outstanding here, all our first responders. So it's cool to have something where public people go eat when they're not in uniform. It's just, I mean, I feel like they got my back, you know, and it goes both ways. But really, that was a long answer, but really, it's the community. A lot of restaurateurs go into a community and take, you know, $2 or $3 million out, don't get back. It's really, Edmond makes it really easy to get back to the community and be part of, and they embrace it. We have a lot of different programs, even in downtown Edmond, to be part of the community. Passions and hobbies, so I love cars, old Chevrolets, Cadillac, any General Motors, so you can catch me washing or cleaning a car. I love to go to car shows. Hobbies, I like to mountain bike. I love to play golf. Not play golf. I hit a white ball around the course and call it playing golf. I like to fish, so I'll seek fish out from Texoma to Lake Michigan. I like bigger fish, so I sometimes have to travel. Oklahoma has a lot of bass and crappie, and that's great, but I like salmon and steelhead and striped bass and that kind of stuff. So I like outdoors. I like to sit at Lake Arcade. I have a little boat that I run around there, but I actually prefer sometimes to just sit on the bank and kind of reflect. So I like nature. Where can you find me? Restaurant, bar. My favorites are R&J's Lounge down in Midtown. Brad runs that restaurant. He does a great job. It's got a cool feel. It's like the 70s. Cool. It's quiet, it's dark. I don't have to be sort of, tell me about the restaurant, you know, and talking about restaurants. I love a patio if I can find one. So Sunset Patio. I like the Midtown area. So Hacienda Tacos is probably one of my favorite places down there. So we try to get out of Edmond when we have a date night or a night off. We typically go to Red Rock is probably one of my favorite restaurants. It's consistent. The carrots are perfect every time. The sunset's the same every time. The servers are all in uniform. The general manager does a great job. Food's consistent. So I like lakes, patios, small little garden bars, mango, you know, just little neat dive bars. We've been trying to not just, Shannon tells me that there's other things out there besides Mexico. We've been married this year, it'll be 25 years, so we just worked really hard the first 20 of our marriage, and then now we're able to kind of travel a little bit more. LA, Palm Springs, I really like the Palm Springs area just because it's quiet, and then Mexico, so Cancun, Cabo, doesn't matter. We go to the Excellence Club quite a bit. It's an adults only resort. I think they know our names. We've been there quite a bit, but it's cool. But Vegas 2 days, LA 2 days, Mexico 5 days. So I love all sports. So if there's underwater basket weaving on, I'll watch it. Right. So I go to bed with ESPN and wake up with it. But my favorite sports teams, I'm a Chicago White Sox fan. I lived in South Bend, which is, I don't know, an hour away. We could get to the game pretty quick. They won the World Series in '05, so I've been holding on for a while. This year they happen to do doing really well. Dallas Cowboys fan, graduated high school in Irving, Texas in '94. If you weren't a Cowboys fan in the '90s in Irving, Texas, you didn't have a soul. So I've been holding on, it's been a while. This is our year. Dallas Cowboys, and then I love OU football, season ticket holder. Makes it difficult because we do a lot of business on Saturdays, and those 11 o'clock games kill me when they're all front loaded and stuff. But OU, White Sox, Thunder. What brand is going to take off and what we're going to develop? We're going to take the Hott Wings. We've been teamed up with a franchise matchmaker, and we're going to take Hott Wings all over the United States. And my role, I think, in the next 5 years will be to travel and go to the new store openings at Hott Wings, kind of be a hype guy, give them my vision, talk about how we got to the World Wants Wings, and go kind of fly around the U.S. to new store openings. I want to grow this Hott Wings brand at 300 units through franchising, and to where I'm not on the grind day to day cooking wings in the window, running food expoing, running the day-to-day operations, but more kind of get to travel a little bit, watch other franchisees be successful with a brand that we built. So that's kind of what we're working on currently. Oh, ribeye with asparagus. It's funny, I eat them at our restaurants too, but I asked one day, I said, if I eat a ribeye and asparagus every day, do you think I'll die? And he said, who cares? You had a ribeye and asparagus every day. So I like a filet, I like flat irons and all that kind of stuff, but like one last meal, like you only have one meal left, it's a ribeye with asparagus, medium rare.